Hi all, so welcome back to our YouTube channel. So this video is for someone who is currently preparing for any job interview on Java background. So specifically in any of the MNCs company or service-based company like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra. So in this video, I have specifically covering 30 Java interview questions that was mostly asked in the interview. So if you are preparing for this Infosys interview, so this is video is must for you. And if you are giving interviews for some other companies, even if it is a service company, so these are like common questions that is being asked overall the industry. So let's get started. So here in the Deep Developer YouTube channel, we make videos on Java, Spring Boot, microservices, API development, and mostly on the backend development. And previously we have covered like a lot of interview questions on Hibernate and basic of Java, SQL, and Spring Data JPA. So we have playlist. You can go through those after this video. So let's get started with the video. So if you are a experienced person or the beginner having 3 plus, 4 plus, or 5 plus years of experience, then this video is definitely for you. So let's get started. So first question they will definitely ask like what are the four pillars of Java. So this question is being asked to all the candidates whether they are like freshers experience. The answer should be depending upon the how many years of experience the candidate has. So here we are assuming like the candidate is having 2 or 3 4 years of experience. So let's start with the answers. So you can explain like there are four pillars are there. So you can explain like encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. So you can explain it with a simple example like polymorphism. It means a object having more than one forms. So you can take on general examples like employee. So employee you can take as an object. So he can be the manager of a company, and employee he can be like son or daughter of the parent. So this employee can himself or herself be a father or the mother. So like that you can explain. So what is inheritance? Inheritance means reusing the parent object or the parent classes. So you can take it as a general example like we are inheriting the properties of our parents, and so along with that we had some our properties, so that is a part of inheritance. So in the general example you can take it as like a bank, which is that like SBI or sorry RBI is there. So you can take it as a parent level, and the sub level it has like SBI, uh, ICICI or the HDFC. So they are actually inheriting the rules that is mentioned by the RBI. So you can take it something like that. And abstractions means we will be showing only the functionality to the users. We will hide the implementations. You can take it as in like when you dial something on our phone and a call is going. So as an user we just know the functionality how this internally connecting to network and how this call is being transferred. So those things we don't know. Similarly in our Java we can use the same things like we'll just write down the code, and we'll just keep an entry point for the other to get access of that particular functionality. Encapsulation means wrapping up the data and the method in a single class, controlling the access via private and public method. So here we will be using like we are using getter and setter method to set the data, and we are within a single object we have this data as well as fields as well as the method. Next, to go to the next questions. Why string is immutable in Java? So string is immutable because once we create it we cannot change its value, as we know. So if we check the internal design, so its string is actually a character array. So internally, it is implemented using the final keyword with the character array. So doing this immutable concept, uh, it gives us like thread safety and shape use as a keys in collections. And so in the collection we can use as a key, so nobody, like in the HashMap we use we can use the key as a string, so nobody can nobody can change its values. So it's also avoid the bugs from unexpected modifications. Next question, like what is the difference between the string buffer and the string builder? We know the string is immutable. The second is that a string buffer is mutable, so we can change the values, and it's thread shape, and it is synchronized as well. So what is thread shape? We will come in the coming slides. I will explain in the coming slide. In the string builder is also mutable, but it is non-synchronized. It is not a thread shape, and it is recommended for a single threaded use due to a better performance. So what is the difference between compile time polymorphism and the runtime polymorphism? So on the first slides, I was explaining regarding the polymorphisms that occur mainly the two reasons. One is compile time polymorphism and another is runtime polymorphism. So on this method overloading in the compile time polymorphism means the same method name will be there, but it will be having the different parameters, and uh, and the return type will be the same. And in the runtime polymorphism means it's occur due to the method overriding. So method overriding means child class also have the same methods. So depending upon the compiler, it will decide like which method or to call. So if we have created the child object, so the child method should be called. So what is the difference between double equals and equals method in the Java? So double equals it's compare the reference, and dot equals method it compare the content of the object. Pass by value or the pass by reference. So Java is strictly a pass by value. For the primitive types, the value is copied, and for the object reference, for example, we have a variable we store the collection. So on that case, the values of that reference is copied, but both refer to the same object. So there is no pass by reference in the Java. So how does garbage collection works in Java? So the Java runtime manages the memory automatically via garbage collections. So we have different memory series like heap, which store the objects created, and the stack, which store the local variables and the methods that are created inside our classes. And they have some other areas as well. So when the object is no longer being used, so JVM actually run the garbage collection. So these are automatically run, and this object is being destroyed. So what is the difference between array list and linked list in Java? So array list is backed by dynamic arrays, so good for random access. So if you do any get operations um, like dot get, so it is gives with order of one complexity, but it is slower if you want to insert or something. So linked list on the other hand, it uses the linked list and goods for insertion and the removal, but it is um, slower for any access. So if you do like insert, if you want to insert, you can directly insert from the reference. What is the difference between list, set, and map in Java collection? So list is an unordered collections allowing duplicates, like it can have the duplicates value. Set, it cannot have the duplicate value. Map is store the key and values as a single entity. So what is HashMap? Explain the HashMap internal working in Java. So HashMap works using like hash tables where key are hashed, and depending upon the hash, it's then created the index like a mode of hash code with the bucket size. It will create the index, and on that index the values will be stored. And during the collision, if for example we have different hash code but it is pointing to the same index, then on that particular index it will be having the chain of linked list, and then the values is being stored. So what is fail first and fail safe iterator in the Java collection? So fail fast iterator checks a modification count and throw the concurrent modification exception if the collections modified structurally after the iterator created. The fail-safe iterator works on snapshot of the collection or the use internal locking, so modification does not cause exception in the iteration thread. So what is multithreading in Java and how to create a thread? So multithreading means executing multiple threads concurrently within a process. So in Java, you can create a thread by extending the thread class. Then we can override the run method to create our logic. Then we can call thread.start method to start the thread. And also second way, we can implement the runnable interface by passing a thread to that object. So if you're still watching the video, I'll request you please subscribe to the channel as we'll be making the daily videos on the Java interview questions. So in the coming videos also I'll be covering the Spring Boot interview questions as well. So what is the difference between synchronized and the volatile keyword in the Java? So synchronized volatile are the part of multithreading. So synchronized ensure the mutual exclusions and the visibility, so only one thread at a time can execute a synchronized block. So volatile ensures the visibility or the changes across the thread but does not provide atomicity or locking for compounded actions. So what is deadlock and how it can be prevented? So deadlock occurs when two threads want to acquire a same block, for example, and each of the thread is waiting for the other resources to be released. For example, we have one thread 1 and thread 2. Thread 2 is holding thread 1 is holding a lock 1 and waited for the lock 2, while in the other case second thread is already hold the lock 2 and it is expecting or waiting for the lock 1 which is already being held by thread 1. So during that case the deadlock will occur. What is lambda expression and the function interface in Java? So function interface is an interface with exactly one abstract method. So runnable, comparator, consumer, those are like function interface. We need to use at the rate functional interface annotations. A lambda expressions provide a concise way to implement the functional interface. So we can use this bracket. Inside the bracket we can mention the parameters value and arrows, then expression or the body. So if we have like in the body, if we have more than 2 3 statements, then we can use the curly braces. Explain the stream API in Java. Then what is the difference between intermediate and terminal operations? So stream API allows functional style operation on the collection like map, filter, reduce, and streams are lazy. So here you build a pipeline of operations and execution happens when the terminal operation is called. So intermediate operation, like we have a collection and we filter something and we using the map we want to change the value, we can use sort it. So those are like part of intermediate operations, and the terminate operation is that the collections for each reduce count, those are all the terminal operation. So what is optional class in Java? So and why use it? So optional is introduced in the Java 8. So its content object which may or may not contains a non-null value. So it helps to avoid null pointer exceptions. You can explain that. Then explain method overloading and the method overriding. As I have explained this already in this polymorphism concept. So method overriding occurs during the compile time. So we have like same method name but the different parameters and within the same class or the subclass. And method overriding, subclass provide a specific implementation of a method where the superclass have the same name or the signature. What is the difference between abstract class and the interface in Java before Java 8 and after Java 8? So the abstract class can have like concrete method, field, constructor, and may hold state. A class extend only one abstract class, where the interface before like Java 8, it has like only one abstract method, but abstract the Java 8, it have only one abstract method, but it can have default as well as the static method as well. So what are the new features of the Java? So we already know we have used Lambda expression, Stream API. You can explain it have like optional classes. We have introduced the method references. We have introduced the default and starting method in the interface. We have used datetime API in the Java 8. You can explain this. What is the difference between array and array list? So if you have any questions or if you want me to cover any of the specific topic, you can mention in the comment section. So arrays, it's a like fixed size, and it can hold the primitives or the object. An array list is it is the dynamic size. Depending upon the values, it is incremented dynamically. The size will be incremented dynamically. So what is the difference between equals and double equals? In the custom object, we already know explain the earlier slide difference between equals and double equals. But if we have any custom object, for example employee object, student object, then how do you override this equals and the hash code? So this equals, we know it is logically checking the values, and double equal check if it is pointing the two object values is pointing to the same location. Then double equals is giving the checking the reference equality. For the custom object, as I mentioned, to override those two methods, so that the object used as a key in the hash based collection behave correctly. So what is class loader in the Java, and how does the JVM load classes? A class loader is a part of JVM that load the class files into the runtime. So there are three main types: the bootstrap, extension, and the application class loader. The loading process will be going like it is loading the binary files, then it is going to the linking phase like verifications and the preparations, then it is going to the initialization, where it will be executing from the static block, which is the entry point. What is reflection in Java and how do you use it? So reflection we can use from java.lang.reflect uh, packages. Reflection is an ability of a program to inspect and modify the runtime behavior. Because for example, we have one fields which is private, or the one um, method which is private, and we want to write the unit test cases for this private method. So we cannot directly call from the test class. So because it will be because it is on the different packages, and we will not able to access that particular method. So it will be giving like it will not be able to access. So on that case, we can use the reflection API, and we can use set accessible to true. uh, then we can use those particular uh, object fields or the methods. So what is serialization in Java, and why and how it is done? So serialization is the process of converting an object into a stream of bytes, so it can be written on the so that it can be written on the file or transferred through the network. And deserialization is the reverse from, so it will be converting from the byte stream or to the object. So those are done by using object output stream and object input stream classes, which is a part of java.io serializable classes. So what is the difference between shallow copy or the deep copy in the Java? So shallow copy, it copies the object but does not but not the object it refers to. It will just a copy of the object. Uh, and the deep copy copies the object and recursively copies all the object and it returns. So the clone is independent on the object. So what is thread safety, and give an example of thread safe collection. So thread safety means the class or the collection can be safely used by multiple thread simultaneously without causing inconsistent state or the race conditions. So we have like concurrent HashMap, which is the java.util.concurrent, and copy on write array list, vectors as tables. So those are the part of thread shape collections. So what is the difference between HashMap and concurrent HashMap? So concurrent HashMap, we know it is a thread shape and it uses internal locking mechanism, and the HashMap we already, it is not a thread shape, and we already know the use case of this HashMap. What is the difference between checked and unchecked exception? So checked exception, we it extend the like exception classes, and it is caught during the like compile time. So um, some example are file not found exception, class not found exception, and unchecked exception, it occurs during the runtime, and we can create an unchecked exception use extending the runtime exception classes. And some example are like null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception. So what is the default method in the interface, and why are they introduced? So so we are, as you know, the default methods let you to add like uh, implementation of a method in the interface without using, we need to use the keyword for the default. So that's all about this Java interview questions specifically for the Infosys. So if you enjoy the video, please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to provide any feedback, please mention that on the comment section. Thank you for watching the video.